friends, welcome to my first video, my Among Us bullet journal setup for November. For this month, I decided on an Among Us theme. I'm sure by now that everyone has heard about Among Us, but if you hadn't, it's an online murder mystery game where you're a little astronaut who has to complete tasks and figure out who the imposters are. If you're the imposter, then you're trying to sabotage the ship and eliminate other crewmates. Like many people, I am obsessed with playing the game, so I decided on this theme for November. I know another bullet journal YouTuber, Amanda H. Lee, also did an Among Us theme for this month, and it made me laugh that we both had the same idea for a theme. I love how even though we chose the same theme, our layouts still look very different. Her layouts look so awesome, so you should check out her video too. Right now, I'm drawing the little lobby where the Among Us characters wait for the game to start. Instead of just saying start on the start button, I decided to write start November as a fun way to start out the month. I'm coloring in the little characters with the colors and accessories that my friends and I normally play as for a fun little personal touch to the theme. It's really funny that whenever I look at the characters, my brain automatically associates them with my friends. My one friend who plays as Cyan always has his child with him who is named Little Jim. So of course I had to include Little Jim in the spread. I love how every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, this game brings my friends together and we can just chill, hang out, and accuse each other of being sus. It's a great way to bring us all back together under this very strange time. I'm using vibrant colors with my Tombow brush pens to add a bright little pop to the page. Around the characters, I'm coloring in the ship and the boxes in a monochromatic shades of gray to make the Among Us characters stand out and to mirror what the ship looks like in the game. This page is normally my quote page for my bullet journal, but there are no real quotes that I found that go along with Among Us. In this game, I decided to make myself crewmate as shown by the bright blue letters in November on the title page, so I could incorporate more tasks into my layouts. Personally, I have more fun playing as imposter, but I tend to get crewmate a whole lot more. Some of my friends enjoy being crewmate more than imposters, so I'm curious what you guys like to play. And now that I finished the ship, I'm adding a black background as the space around the ship. Now I'm going to go in with my white gel pen to add just some little dots as stars in the night sky. Now it is almost time to move on to my calendar. For this month, I'm making the calendar a combination of the reactor tasks. The first few days are the unlock manifolds task, aka that numbers task where you have to click the numbers in order from 1 to 10. And the last few days are the start reactor task, or that Simon Says task that everyone always has so much trouble with, but that I somehow usually get right on the first try. I think it's so perfect how the first day of this month starts on Sunday. I know there's a controversy on if the week should start on Monday or Sunday in calendars and planners, but personally, I was always taught that Sunday was the start of the week, so that's how I'm doing it. Oh, and if you're wondering what I'm using to outline, it's a Stabilo 0.4 fineliner that I bought off of Amazon. I really like how this calendar is turning out so far and how it feels like it transports us right into the middle of the game. I'm adding these bright little circles to where I wrote the days of the month to once again add a little pop of color to the otherwise gray and black page. I know that these tasks don't really have these little colorful bubbles on them, but I decided to take a few artistic liberties. Then I'm coloring in the blue square in the start reactor task as if I'm in the middle of doing the task right now. I also decided to color the days of the week in little boxes up top. Obviously, I love to include color in my spreads. Now I'm coloring the November that I wrote in bubble letters and my crewmate. Like I said before, I decided to model the little Among Us characters off the ones that my friends and I play. Since I normally play as Orange with the egg hat, my Among Us character will be seen in many pages and is really the star of the theme. I really don't know why I decided to start playing as Orange, because Orange isn't even one of my favorite colors. But ever since I chose it, I just stuck with it. I think the little egg hat adds so much personality to her. Comment below what your Among Us character looks like. When coloring in the background black, I put a scrap piece of white paper underneath the page so that the black marker won't accidentally get onto any of my other bullet journal pages. I don't think anyone wants to slip up and accidentally ruin a page that they loved from before. I found that this is something that has really helped me when coloring backgrounds all the way to the edge. Now I'm just finishing up by coloring the edges of all the tasks in this dark gray color that I colored the outside of the spaceship with on the last spread. I'm leaving the boxes white so that it will be easier to see what I write in them. I've never done a split calendar like this, where one part looks one way and the other one looks another way, but I love how much personality it adds to the page. Over on the right side here, I'm just coloring in the place that I added where I can write my grades for the month. Hopefully I will have all A's. I based it off of the storage task where you fill up gas for that part. I also wrote "You're sus" here at the top with a white marker because that's just a phrase that you have to say at least once when you're playing Among Us. I'm just going over it again so that way it will be easier to see. Much like the page before, I am also adding these white little stars because Among Us takes place in space. I hope you love this calendar as much as I do. Now it's time for me to move on to my habit tracker spread. Much like the calendar, I am once again basing it off of tasks in Among Us. I labeled it tasks at the top instead of habit tracker because making sure I do these habits are basically my tasks for the month. For my first 4 habits, I have them as the wires task or the fixed wiring task in electrical. I have the wires connecting to each other straight, so it'll be easier to see which task is which. Then I'm doing the last 3 as the circles task or the calibrate distributor task in electrical. And yes, I most definitely had to look up what the official name of that task was. I don't know about any of you guys, but the circle task sometimes takes so long for me to complete when I play. The 7 habits that I'm focusing on for myself for this month are sea breeze, which is what I try to use on my face every day. Journal, because I'm trying to journal as many days as I can. Have all A's, which is pretty self-explanatory. Bullet journal, which is just to make sure that I'm using my bullet journal as many days as I can. Flossing was one of my New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the year, and I have been doing pretty well with it. I also have been trying to read at least 25 pages each day, but this one is hard for me. I really love reading, but I find that a lot of the time I don't devote as much time as I would like for it, mostly because of all the schoolwork that I have. And also water. I colored in the title blue to stick with the crewmate theme for the month. Then I'm going in with my darker and lighter gray markers to color in the tasks. This page doesn't have nearly as many colors as the other pages, but I feel like I'll definitely make up for that in the next page. You'll see what I mean soon. And of course, I have my little orange Among Us character standing next to the tasks like she is ready to start working on them. I never had a habit tracker look anything like this. I really feel like this month is a chance for me to stray away from what my bullet journal spreads normally look like and try something new. And sometimes when you try something new, you'll discover something you love, just like with this theme. If you're wondering what my spreads looked like before this month, stay tuned to the end of the year, and once I finish this bullet journal, I will be doing a flip through of it. And of course, like all of the other spreads, I'm coloring the background black. Now, I'm just writing over my habits in a white marker so that they will be easier to see over the dark gray background. I feel like you couldn't really see them before. And finally, I'm just adding those white little stars. The stars always just add a little extra dimension to the page. On to the mood tracker. For this page, I took inspiration from Amanda Rach Lee's mood tracker because I wasn't exactly sure what to do for it. That's the good thing about choosing themes that other people do. If you get stuck, they can always help you out. And just because you're taking inspiration from someone doesn't mean that you have to have your page look exactly the same. Mine will definitely be different because I'm still planning to color in the night sky at the end. I like how there's so many different hats and accessories included on the Among Us characters of this spread. If I was just drawing a few Among Us characters, I probably wouldn't use all of these designs, but since I had to draw like 30, I like how it made me think of all the different ways I could draw them. I try to make the positioning of them different too. I love how some are just floating upside down in space, while some are sitting, and some even look like they're running away. And some are even dead or ghosts. I also like how the imposter with his tongue stabbing someone has a halo on his head like he's just oh so innocent. It would have been funny if I put devil horns on the character being attacked. Sadly, I didn't think of that until right now. I even have a few mini or child crewmates. It's always so sad sad if someone has a child crewmate and then dies. Then the poor little child is left all alone. Anyways, who even thinks that it would be a good idea to bring a child on a space mission? And hey, at least the imposters have enough compassion not to get rid of the children crewmates. I wonder if sometime even more hats and accessories will be added to the game. I guess now would be a good time to mention that I will put a list of all the art supplies I used in the description of the video. Also, I was thinking of doing a video sometime where I draw the Among Us characters that my friends and I play as humans. If you would like a tutorial on how to draw an Among Us character, then you should really head over to my friend ArtLife's channel. She has a great beginner-friendly tutorial. I'll link it below in the description. I also added little dots to the side of the page to show the range of my mood. I just picked out a few of the colors that I have used to color in the Among Us characters this month. Hopefully most of the Among Us characters will be more of the colors that I assign to my happy moods. I love that the little Among Us characters look like they're just chilling in space. I'm coloring the background black, and then I'm going to decorate it with some white stars to further enforce that space theme. The black Tombow marker is perfect for the background because it doesn't bleed through and it glides right across the page. This isn't sponsored. I have just been really enjoying my Tombow brush pens ever since I got them for my birthday earlier this year. They're perfect for bullet journaling. I am thrilled how this page has turned out, and it's probably one of my favorite pages from the entire theme. This is definitely a page that took a little longer, but I think it was worth all the effort. What do you guys think? Now I'm working on these pages where I have my playlist, TV shows watched, and movies watched. I am basing this part off of what would happen if a dead body was found and reported in the game. So my playlist is like the chat, and my movies and TV shows watched are the voting screen. I think it's always so interesting to look back on pages like these, and then you can say, oh yeah, I did love that song then, or I remember that movie, it was so good. When I first started my bullet journal, I didn't have a page with these things on it, but once I started, I realized how much I like it. Now that school has started back up, I haven't been watching as much TV. I also feel like since I've watched a ton of shows over quarantine, now I'm in a slump where there's no good TV shows left to watch. Luckily, more TV shows seem to be coming out now, like Season 2 of The Mandalorian. At least I'll get to watch that every Friday. I love how accurately this page mirrors what happens in the game with the chat and voting. Now I'm just coloring in the crewmates. I have two crewmates dead here, dark green and white. It's funny because my friend who plays dark green always seems to die first. So of course I had to commemorate that in this spread. Instead of filling out my playlist now, I normally fill it in at the end with all of my favorite songs from the month, so I'm just going to leave this page basically blank for now. I'm writing what each thing is in white over the background right now. Honestly, I don't know why I outlined them first in black anyway. Then I'm just coloring the backgrounds gray and light blue. I didn't put the little characters of who voted who or the names of the characters because I didn't really want to clutter up the space. Meetings are definitely the most chaotic part of the game. People are always speaking over each other and trying to prove why it wasn't them. I absolutely love all the craziness of it. Now I'm just coloring the rectangles of the people who died gray. And of course, after everyone votes, someone gets voted out. So I used that to do my book's red page. As I said before, I love to read so much. The person I decided to have voted off was Banan, who has a whole crazy story behind who he is. Well, actually, I'm not sure who he is. If you guys are interested about a story time about Banan, comment down below and I'll do a story time speed draw sometime about it. It's a very crazy story about something that happened to my friends and I when we were playing Among Us one time. And I don't really have time to tell you guys now the whole thing. Anyway, so I have the books floating around Banan in space, which I think turned out so cute. At least the imposter will have some good reading material, am I right? This page actually reminds me a little bit of my mood tracker spread. It's funny how when I was first thinking about fall, I was thinking of a more cozy nature theme. My ideas were actually koi fish or mushrooms. Then the Among Us theme popped into my mind, and I was set on that. Not exactly cozy fall vibes. Actually, it's pretty much the opposite of cozy fall vibes, but I can always use those themes ideas another time. Now I'm just coloring in the books around Ambanan in the bright colors I used to color in the crewmates. I just went over the book spread one more time with the white pen. I tried something a little simpler for the weekly spread. I loosely based it off of those little text bubbles in the chat, so you can see some of those vibes here. As I mentioned before, it's so perfect how the week starts on Sunday this month. I'm always not sure what to do for the other months, so they usually end up having like 3 days in its own weekly spread. I decided to outline the boxes in different colors, so I'm erasing the lines until I can just barely see them. Now I'm going in and outlining the boxes as well as coloring the little Among Us characters. I also colored in the boxes that have the day of the month in it. Although I wanted to keep it simple, I also wanted to keep it colorful. I also colored the space around the characters a dark gray. I'm outlining the days of the week in white to make them more visible on the darker background. And of course, I'm coloring the background black like the other pages and adding those little white stars. I was a little scared that the black would go over the colors that I outlined the boxes in, but luckily it didn't. All I had to do was a little touch-up to some of the boxes, and they were perfect. I always like to have a next week box in the weekly spread, too, so I can write things that are coming up for next week. Like if I have a big test, for an example. The next week box also makes it so that way I can put 4 boxes on each page so the spread is more symmetrical. If you're wondering what my future weekly spreads will look like, I'll be posting pictures of them to the community tab every week. Hi friends, welcome to my first... Now it's time for the final flip through. I really loved how this turned out, and I hope that you guys do too. Make sure to like and subscribe because I will be posting more artsy content every week. Also, comment what bullet journal theme you're doing for November. Are any of you guys also doing an Among Us theme? Thanks for watching, and remember, keep being creative.